Welcome back. The Minnesota State women's basketball team took home the program's second national title this past week after a strong postseason run. We caught up with head coach Emilee Thiesse to reflect on the Mavericks' historic season.
I think a lot of people are taking notice of Minnesota State University.
When you look at the ride throughout this season, start out preseason rankings, have you at number 2? They weren't too far off when it came down to the end of it, but this team really battled through a lot of different things throughout the year, and especially when we get to the NCAA tournament with those injuries, but nothing was able to get in the way of the team accomplishing that ultimate goal.
You know, it just all had a way of working out. You know, I think to have had to learn that lesson early in the season when Joey went down about, you know, other players having to be ready to step up for us, having the confidence to know that when your number is called, you know, that we have all the most trust in each player to do those kind of things. And we got to learn that early in November. We experienced some of those, you know, throughout the season, and it was just, you know, like just kind of business as usual, and everybody kind of handled that well, so that when that adversity struck in some of the biggest games of the season, you know, we weren't frazzled, we weren't, you know, shaken by what are we going to do now. It was just the same thing that we've done throughout the course of this season. So blessing in disguise that we got to or had to learn that lesson early on, but just so proud of how this team has responded, you know, through all of that through the season.
It doesn't always work out that way, but to face an opponent that handed you an early loss in the season in the national title game, what did that mean to be able to face that opponent again and come up on the other side this time?
Yeah, it's just such a full circle moment to be, you know, seeing an opponent that we had seen in the second game of the year that we had come up short to, and to have a chance to, you know, kind of, I don't know, redeem ourselves, but you know, I think the biggest thing was just to prove to ourselves what a different team we were at this stage of the season and how far we had come through the course of 33 or 34 games in between, and just so proud of how our team didn't have a chip on our shoulder, but instead just took it in stride to want to be the best team that we could be, and just incredible that it worked out that way in the same facility that, you know, we had started the season into, and, you know, it was awesome.
In talking with players, they mentioned that this run started last March after that loss in the NCAA tournament to Minnesota Duluth. What was the message to the team just heading into the offseason? Because it seemed like everybody kind of came back and were going to make sure that this time was going to be a different story in the tournament.
You know, there was a lot of value in being in a front row seat of watching a team that was able to be a national championship caliber team in Duluth, and then also to watch it, you know, we watched it in person as a team. We were, you know, talking about, you know, what do we notice about teams that are at that stage? How are they handling adversity, or when, you know, games didn't go their way? And, you know, we were dissecting it from a leadership standpoint and those kind of things to prepare ourselves for it. But ultimately, when it came down to it, you know, we kind of came together in the locker room and said, listen, if we want to get to that stage, we can't walk out of here today like, oh, next year's just going to be different. We got to walk out of here today like we got to get better to make ourselves be different. And our team had a hunger about them from that day forward. They committed to sticking around in the summer. They built that chemistry from that day up until today, and that's a year's worth of commitment right there.
What really was the turning point for this group in the regular season? Is there a moment that you remember that you can share with us?
Oh yeah, yes. When we got back from St. Joe and went 0-2 on that road trip, and you know, we were 2-3, I think, in that moment, and you know, we sat down in the locker room and circled up the chairs and just had a little kumbaya moment of like, we've got to trust each other. We've got to trust this system. We got to stop being scared to be impact players out there. There were tears, there were hugs, there were just real moments in that meeting that just changed our basketball team. And, you know, and I said to them in St. Joe, you know, we were here a few months ago crying, and we're here today crying for a whole nother reason. And just to see how far that trust and that confidence came from that point. I mean, it felt like almost a rock bottom for us, where we just continued to grow from there.
Last question for you, Coach. As far as this program goes. Where to now after bringing home a national title?
You know, we're just we're soaking this in. We're running on fumes right now. It's been a grind over the last month of being on the road and so many games, so many preps, all of those kind of things, and just the emotional highs. So we're just loving it right now. We're so thankful for the Mankato community. We literally watched the men's, basically last second winner there, and the game was over and the police escort drove us right into town. So it's all so fresh on us right now. We are certainly pouring into our 4 seniors and just loving having this chance to celebrate with them too for a little bit longer, and then back to work as usual and get ready to continue to build this program.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, Coach. Yeah. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.